Hi, friends. Welcome to Luminous Human School. I'm Christy Sandino, and I'm here with Lindsay Davis.
Hello.
And today we have Emily Ray Henderson back with us for the second time. We had a beautiful podcast with her earlier this year, all about creating the life of your dreams. And at the end of that podcast, Emily mentioned her yearly trip to Peru, where she does both a pilgrimage and a dieta. And currently, she's still in Peru. You may even hear some jungle sounds in the background, which I hope happens.
I know, me too.
And and she is in what's called post dieta. So it's still an integration period for the journey she's just embarked on. So she's coming to the close. And while she's
Mhm.
still in Peru, she was generous enough to give us some of her time to share more about this experience and the downloads she received, and so that we can glean some of her gifts and wisdom from this. And as we were prepping for this episode, Lindsay just came up with the most perfect and beautiful question. So I just want to pass it to Lindsay right away to kick this off.
Yeah, well, first of all, welcome, Emily. We're glad you're here with us again. We had so much fun talking to you the first time. And yeah, as we were talking about this dieta, I thought, gosh, I would just love to know this, definition of a dieta. Like, what is it? What does it involve? And I know we're going to get into more of the details, but when I'm thinking of dieta, I kind of have like a little bit of an idea in my mind, but for myself and people listening that, aren't 100% clear, can you just tell us what exactly a dieta is?
Yeah, so thanks so much for asking that question. And it's so good to be back here with you guys. Yeah, I feel just really shiny and new. So, a dieta is a tradition that is from the jungle. And
Mm.
specifically, where I go is with the Shipibo tribe in Peru. I believe there's other tribes in other areas that may also do dietas, but the one that I speak about will be coming from the Shipibo tribe. And I would say it is a container where we shift everything we do. We go into a container, and the abuelita, the grandmother, so that's who was leading our dieta, was her name's Amelia. She's an abuelita. She opens up the dieta space with by singing songs
Mm.
and working with ayahuasca. And it opens up the space for us to commune with a specific plant. Because really, in the Amazon, it is an entire medicine cabinet. It is where we get all of our medicines from. So this is a practice that the local people do as well. But with the way the container that I came in, it's a little bit different because there are several ayahuasca ceremonies throughout. Um, in some ways, I feel like it's like the Westerner needs a little bit extra because we're that much further disconnected from nature. So, like, let's throw in some extra ayahuasca ceremonies for that.
Oh, wow.
um, so really, there's like hundreds of different plants that you can diet, and you're dieting a plant that's not psychoactive, that has specific properties based on what your intention is, maybe what your health, if you have any health concerns, you can diet specifically for specific health concerns. And that's often how the local people are doing it here. So they know which plants work with which ailments, whether they be physical or mental, emotional, spiritual. It's connected in all of those areas of wellness.
In their,
So
oh, I just wanted to ask, in their tribe, is this what would be considered their shamanic healing tradition?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, definitely. This is, I would almost like, I've almost even like the level that the grandmother that I work with, because of course, when you go to the jungle, there's every option now, right? And there is a lot of people that are working for money. So there are people that have different levels of experience, of knowledge, have kept the knowledge of all the plants and all the healing properties. So the woman that I work with very much has kept that. And, they're considered doctors.
Mhm.
Like you can go in and really heal ailments with this practice.
Wow.
Yeah,
So then you are doing these ayahuasca ceremonies. So of course you're working with the spirit of ayahuasca, but then in addition to that, you're utilizing another specific plant.
exactly. So when we go in, there was a group of about 10 of us that went to this retreat center that we go to. And this is the third time I've been there over an 8-year period. And we speak with the abuelita and let her know what our intentions are. And she kind of has an intuitive reading of where we're at in our life with our intention, and she suggests a plant. So you're working together on that.
Okay.
And then that's the plant that I will diet for the entire container. And there's different lengths of time, but the one that I just did is a 10-day dieta. So
Okay.
then she opens up the space for that plant to start to commune within me.
Mm.
And during the dieta, we have a very specific diet, which is no sugar, fat, or salt. So
Okay.
basically, the food is very plain
Mhm.
and very simple.
Mhm.
And the reason why is because we want to become more like a plant.
Mm.
So plants don't like salt or sugar or fat. So we're dieting to get all of these things that are normally in our system out of our system so we can be a clearer channel to be more sensitive, to really start to understand the properties of the plant.
Mm.
And how do you ingest the plant? Is it like dried leaves made into a tea? Or,
It is, no, it's actually, it can be done a couple of different ways. So I dieted a plant called Boahuasca.
okay. I love it.
And I know, and
Okay.
huasca actually means vine. So
Mm.
I dieted a vine. Just like
Okay.
ayahuasca is a vine, boahuasca is like the mother. They consider it the mother of ayahuasca, but it's not psychoactive.
Okay.
Neither is actually the vine of ayahuasca. It takes the chacruna plant to come in to create that. So it
Okay.
is a vine from the low jungle, and it has a lot of strengthening properties. So when I went in, my intention was feeling really good. And I know that, I feel like I'm aging well. I'm 49, and I want to just keep going with that. Like and that would be like strengthening my body, strengthening my spirit, strengthening all the work that I'm doing in the mental, emotional realm. So really strengthening in all ways. And so she was like, Boahuasca. And I was like, whoa, I hadn't even really thought about it. Maybe not even heard of it. Maybe I'd
Mhm.
heard of it in songs. Often in songs through that are sung in ayahuasca ceremonies, they bring in a lot of the different plants. So I might have heard it sung before. But yeah, so that was the feeling. So I'm drinking basically a vine that is distilled in alcohol and
Oh,
distilled for a long time, like years. So it's
oh.
very strong. It's a strong, strong plant.
So is it
Some
like a
people,
tincture?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
yeah,
say.
it's
It's like
like, yeah, they put it in a wine bottle.
but like you're not drinking like straight alcohol of this, right? Or like are you diluting it in water if it's
It's basically it's a tincture. I would say more of a tincture then. So it's
Okay.
really the plant has been reduced down into this. But we are drinking like a shot of it every morning and
oh,
every evening. And we're having it twice a day for all of those 10 days and also during the entire post dieta. So this plant is within me for a month and a half, and it's infusing me with its properties. And so with that, then you go into every other day ayahuasca ceremonies. And the ceremonies are next level because the grandmother is singing specific icaros to you that is, and she works way beyond all time and space. Like she's in the shamanic realms. So she is opening up a level of healing that you don't see in the Western world. And so she's singing very specific songs about the plants to each of us and doing soplatos and different things, opening up, energy lines in our body, even like.
What are soplatos?
Soplato is like, it's like a kind of a blessing where they use it's into the crown and the palms, and they use agua florida, which is like a tool for clearing energy.
Yeah.
So she's going around in the beginning of the ceremony to each one of us and singing our plants to us, and then another ayahuasquera, who's one of our teachers, is there also then creating a new level of song and experience after that. So it's very powerful. She opens the dieta at the beginning, sings every time in our ceremonies, and then she closes the dieta at the end. So it's really important to have someone that really is knowledgeable about this and that you feel safe with. Because it's working in really deep unseen realms and also deep realms within the physical body.
Yeah. So this was you said it was 10 days. Is that what you said? And you're working with the what's the
Boahuasca.
Boahuasca.
There were some other people in the dieta dieting other plants.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's everybody receives their own plant, depending on what it is that they're working with. There's one plant.
Go ahead.
There's one specific plant that, is very powerful called Planta de la Vida, plant of life. And a lot of people diet that specifically when they have like a chronic illness or an illness that they're working with. So there's an example of two different intentions and two different plants.
Yeah. So I'm just like trying to paint the picture in my mind. So you have like 10 days, and in those 10 days, you're working with this Boahuasca, and then you're also working with ayahuasca. And then once those 10 days are done, you just continue to work with Boahuasca and integrate.
Yes. Yep.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it's a really simple time. We let go of reading, listening to music. We let go of all the phones. And it's really like in the mornings, we're drinking our medicine, and where the particular place where I go in Terapoto is really beautiful because there's a lagoon. So we're meant to like swim with our medicine after we take it. And then we have our breakfast, and we do make sure we eat 3 meals because it gives us energy. And then there's a lot of resting in between. For myself, what I loved about this is it gave me focus time to practice music, because that was also one of my intentions, was to really like take time, space to practice my guitar, to sing more, to feel more confident leading and sharing songs. And in the medicine space as well, which can be quite, next level and challenging, playing a guitar when not fully in this realm. So it was really good for me, because that's one of my edges, and one of my fears is singing in front of in front of people that I know are amazing musicians too. A lot of the people that were there also maybe serve in ceremonies. A lot of people that serve or assist musically in ceremonies, it's really helpful that they have this dieta practice, because it really strengthens and builds the energy, so you're more protected in ceremony, because there's a lot of energy moving, and a lot of people are releasing and moving dark energy. And so it's the more that we have this type of dieta practice, the more that there's a strength and a boundary that's created. So it's a really good practice to have if we're leading ceremonies.
When people are in these ceremonies and they're releasing heavier, darker energies, is that something that is mainly in the realm of the abuelita to care for, or is each person doing certain clearing practices on their own in the ceremony?
So it's a both. Definitely the people leading the ceremony, the abuelita, and all the other people that were supporting, because there's other people there supporting in the ceremony. They're all doing different cleansing practices. But yes, for sure, the abuelita would be the one that is, making sure that the entire space is protected. There also is tabaqueras, tabaqueros, like people that work with tobacco. Sacred tobacco is a very clearing plant. So it's called mapacho, where you're taking some tobacco, you're not inhaling it, and you're blowing it into the space, onto people, and that helps to clear energy. So it's a really powerful plant for clearing. And so we also can do that for ourselves. Like if we need to do, and I often take agua florida, which is a clearing liquid that you can put on your hands and clear your own energetic space. So I feel like it's very empowering that we all can each do it too. And in the Dieta, we're taught, like we're shown, we're advised to be empowered, that we are also a part of this journey, and that we're able to bring in what we feel is helping us clear.
I think that's so important. I love that you said that people are encouraged to feel empowered in their own healing, because that's so important in any type of healing. Is we don't say, "Oh my goodness, come heal me, fix me." It's like true healing comes from within, and we need to be empowered to know that we can work with ourselves, we can receive assistance, we can receive wisdom from the elders and the people doing this work, but ultimately, right, like we need to be empowered to do it ourselves, you know. So I love that you mentioned that, because I was kind of curious about some of the dark energies, and I imagine that can be maybe really intense for some people, or even intense to witness other people experiencing that. Like,
Definitely.
can you talk a little bit about that? Like, just what it is, maybe like how you've experienced that, or even like witnessed other people experiencing
Yeah.
that.
Well, that example where that happened in our first ceremony, where someone really had like a really difficult ceremony. So she was loud and moved a lot. And do you know what? One of the things that was so helpful, and this is why I love working with this abuelita, is that we were all encouraged to sing. And singing with the medicine actually moves the energy. So you're singing to heal yourself, like for your own self, and you're also singing in the space so that someone may benefit from hearing the sound of your voice. And so that was something that when this particular person was having difficulty, there was a bunch of us that knew the songs well, and I want to show a chacapa. This is like one of my favorite instruments. It's like
Cool.
big leaves where you just like, it so moves energy. And we were singing songs with the chacapa, and it feels like it was clearing the space as that was happening. And so yeah, that is also another tool. And then of course there is support team there that's helping the people that are having more difficulty, and maybe taking them out of the space if they need to or not. So it's a strong process. So there's bound to have things come up for people. And this space that I go to in Terapoto with this abuelita, it is a very solid, safe, secure. I feel 100% secure in this space, which is really important when going to do a dieta.
I feel like sometimes when we ask for certain qualities in our lives, they can be brought to us in ways we didn't expect. And, you said going in with your intention being more strength in many ways, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Were there experiences that challenged you in having to call on strength to build that strength, or were there other ways that you felt more embodied in strength as you went through the Dieta?
Yeah, so I feel like there's always challenges because that's just what the inner journey path is. It's like going into the cave, and potentially fighting the demons, or what is there? What's the shadow bringing forth? And so there are challenges, and I spend a lot of time writing, to help with that. And also the in between sessions, the Abuelita and Selva, who's one of our teachers, they are available pretty much 24/7 to go and to talk through things, which I find really helpful because sometimes I can get in a mental loop about something that I experienced or a vision that I had. And it's like then creating all these things around it. And so going and talking with them and actually, getting a different perspective is really helpful. So it's like there's ways that I can help myself, by shifting energy, by going and singing a song, by doing some yoga, the practices I have, meditation. But then I know that I can go and speak to someone to just get something out of my head if it's looping. That would be like, that's sort of how I moved through things. Yeah.
That's really beautiful. There's so much support there.
Yeah.
It's really important. Yeah.
And
I
were
was
there
thinking,
any, oh, go
no,
ahead.
you go ahead.
I was just curious if there were any particular downloads you received, sorry about that, on strength that you could share with us, or if any, of your writing, like messages about strength. I guess it would be the same thing. Your downloads come through your writing too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So some of the main things that came through, I've probably had them come through in different ways in my life. And it's a theme that I probably even spoke about before with you guys. It's always a theme for me is trust, trust and surrender.
Mm-hmm.
But it's on such a different level of like such a visceral felt sense level. Just like when we do a breathwork session, when we tap into so trust is a big theme for me, and really trusting what is meant for me will come to me. And instead of sort of going out and grasping, which I can find myself do because I am like a assertive, I can get it, I go out and get things. The message for me was specifically to trust that it's all coming to me, and to be more like in my harmonious, comfortable, peaceful energy so that it's drawing to me. So that was a really big piece. And continue what I'm doing, continuing paying attention to my diet, continuing to strengthen my body with strengthening exercises. Not like I got away with yoga, just doing yoga, and yoga is strengthening, but just yoga. And now I do more cardio and strengthening. So it's like, as I am moving into my next decade, I just have to really remember to do that. So keep doing what I'm doing. It was actually really beautiful. I feel like what the Dieta does is it clears away the clutter. Like it's like that shining of the diamond in a different way. And so that one of the last ceremonies, ayahuasca ceremonies I had, felt like a really difficult one. I was like, oh my God, why was this so hard? Like like this is the last one. And I went and spoke to them afterwards, meaning like I was purging, and it was just difficult physically for me. And she's like, well, the medicine's still cleaning you. And also the abuelita shared that she saw like light, like sparking through me as I was moving through the room. So it's like she could see physically how it was cleaning me. So something that I deemed as like I don't know, like, oh, what's wrong with me?
What's wrong? Yeah,
Why
something
am I not in a more meditative space? Like, that usual was actually like reframed for me and go, no, like that she can see the medicine is cleaning you, like to be more like to be more light, to get rid of that residual. It had been 2 years or 3 years, actually. No, 2.5 years since I'd done a Dieta. So that's 2.5 years of living that needed to be cleared, which is why I really endeavor to continue this practice every single year. This was my 4th Dieta in 8 years. So I've been coming every other year for Dieta. And now next year, we already had the dates for next year. I'm going to come back for sure. Because it's like, it'll just get better, right? It just keeps getting better. And that's what happens when we have these practices of cleaning and clearing and resetting. It's like, things just keep getting better.
I really love that reframe of just in the moment of something, we can be like, gosh, this is so challenging. Why is this happening? I don't understand. And really there's something else happening that we just can't see. And that kind of comes back to that theme you mentioned about trust. Is like, sometimes it's just like, I don't understand this. Why is it so hard? I don't like this challenge. Get me out of it. And it's still serving a purpose for us in some way. And we just have to trust that even though we don't know it in the moment, there's something happening, there's something moving, there's something that we can't see that's really beautiful on the other side of it.
Right. And I know a lot of indigenous cultures, when they look at purging, instead of it getting sick, like we call it in the Western world, getting sick, they call it getting well. Because
Wow.
getting well, because it is, you're purging out that which isn't serving to be a cleaner, clear vessel.
I love that.
Another great reframe.
Getting well.
I know. No, I'm just getting well. Don't worry. Yeah. You got me thinking too, because I was just thinking back to Boahuasca. Am I saying it right?
Yes.
And just kind of curious about the relationship that you've formed and maybe still are forming with this plant, and like what that looks like. And I don't know, is there like an essence of this plant that you feel within you, or just like, what's that relationship like for you, if you can describe it right now?
Yeah, so definitely boa, like one thinks of a serpent or a snake, right? That is like the first thing that comes to mind. So one thing that I feel like that this plant is also helping me with is grounding, which has been a huge part of my practice, and what I need more in my life is grounding. So being on the earth, like the boa is literally on the earth.
Right.
So that was a big thing that came through. There was one ceremony where I felt like I became like a snake, because I was energetically purging something, and it felt like it was moving through my body like a boa. So literally starting to feel characteristics of it. And
Wow.
so, and also when I think of the boa, it reminds me of the Kula Collective, and the lower world is represented by the boa. This part of our yoga teacher training starts with the lower world, which is shedding layers of the skin like a snake does. And so that rebirth, like the snake is in continuous rebirth, because they're shedding the layer of the skin and coming out with new skin. And I definitely feel that rebirth.
Yeah, you started by saying you feel really light and clear right now. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
When
like fresh new skin, fresh new skin.
nice.
Bright and shiny.
When you're meditating with the plant, do you see any images of it? Do you see boa images?
Like that can come up. I've had less of that, but the boa, and specifically the serpent, comes up a lot with ayahuasca as well.
Right.
So a lot of people see visions of the serpent with ayahuasca, and I've definitely tapped into having the head coming towards me, and the eyes, and having that as a vision. So it's definitely a common one, actually.
Oh, interesting. Is that connected to the vine aspect?
Yeah,
Most vine plants will bring in that serpent energy.
definitely ayahuasca does, and boahuasca as well. So
Okay.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot to learn from the medicine of the serpent.
No kidding.
And what have you been doing to integrate all these downloads and
Mm.
experiences?
Well, I decided to stay here longer in Terapoto because I think that's really, I just wanted to stay in the energy of the jungle, of here, to not move too fast, to not go to airports or go into cities where I'm trying to find my food, because the post dieta is still a very simple diet. You can add a tiny bit of salt, a little bit of honey, but no oils in general. And everything's cooked with oil. Everything has oil. So it's like, it's best to find like your own kitchen so you can cook for yourself, and very specific fruits. And it's very specific, the post dieta, because I'm still drinking the Boahuasca, so I still want to have commune with this plant for longer, and that's part of the integration. Some dietas have a much shorter post dieta, so you'll hear that with different places. With the one particularly that I'm working with, it's a longer one.
Okay.
So it's pretty much taking out most things, most like habitual consumption.
I'm sure you're feeling like clearer
Right.
and lighter because of that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. There are some things I'm craving, like avocado. Next week I can have some avocado. Like I crave like oils.
Yeah.
Because it really, this is where I'm not doing this specifically for my health. I'm doing this to commune with the plant longer. So, but it's a short period of time, so it's not going to be detrimental to my health. But ultimately, it's not a way to live long term, for sure.
Yeah.
Are you still using music in your integration? Still playing
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Just continuing to practice and sing every day.
Okay.
And that's something that I just want to keep doing in my life, because I'm now understanding how important that is for everybody, for myself and the people around me as well.
Yeah. I was thinking too, how from what you've learned and are learning and integrating, when you leave Peru, how will you, I don't know, bring this into, everyday life again? Like, do you have an idea for what that looks like for you?
Oh, I think she froze.
I know. I think we
Yeah,
froze.
I'm here.
Okay.
Oh, yay.
I had the opportunity. To speak with a sister, a good friend of mine, who dieted this plant 2 years ago.
Mm.
And that was very interesting for me, because I got to hear how she experienced it later. And she had shared that it really informed and shifted how she holds space for others. And because that is something that I'm doing, and that is something that I feel like energetically, sometimes I get tired from that. Like I feel like there's a new level of strength around the holding the space and protection potentially. And also probably a new level of confidence. Yeah, and especially in the medicine space, as I'm stepping more and more into holding up the medicine space as well. So this is what I endeavor for as I move forward, is to really stay connected with these allies. They're plant allies now for life. The plants that I've dieted are allies for life. So I've had 3 different dietas, 3 different plants. So I call on them as my guides as well, as part of my team.
Yeah, so when you hold ceremonies now, you can call in the Boahuasca to like help hold the space.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they always
Amazing.
are allies, especially when you've worked that closely with one and, become friends with it, and they've taught you, and, okay, what do you have here in your hand? That's beautiful.
I know that if you're listening, you probably can't see it, but imagine that it is a beautiful multicolored cloth that actually is kind of like a serpent. So it is represented with a serpent and Boahuasca down the middle of it, and it's the Shipibo Icaros. that are all sung in here. So they intuit it as a pattern.
Oh, wow.
So are each
So
of those prayers?
yeah, they're songs.
They're songs, so they wove the songs into the shawl.
Yes, they wove the songs into the shawl.
Wow.
And that's typically it's like the vibration or the energy that they see
Ooh.
of resonance of sound.
So they're singing these songs and they're seeing the visual representation of the songs, and that's what we are seeing in this shawl.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That's so beautiful.
Okay, well, we will have this on YouTube. So if you're listening and want to go back later, and you can
Check it
scroll
out.
to this part and see the shawl that Emily is now beautifully wearing around her shoulders.
It actually feels like it is a boa that's around my neck. That's how I'm looking at it as. This is one of my new ceremonial pieces. So
I love it.
yeah.
It just really shows too, like the beyond what we see, you know, what beyond what most of us see. There's worlds, there's energy, there's so much more. And it's like, yeah, we might not be able to see it, many of us, but there are, you know, shamans and people that interpret this for us to experience in
Mhm.
another way. It's so incredible.
Yeah, it's also incredible to think of how when we do this kind of work, whether it's a dieta in Peru or a breathwork ceremony or just prayers you do in the morning at home, we don't realize how much they continue to reverberate out into our lives and into the lives of the people that we're around and into our environments, and how much power is in that.
Yeah.
It's so interesting how this woman was able to say 2 years later how the Boahuasca integrated through the 2 years, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's exciting. I'm excited about the next steps in
I
life.
keep getting chills.
I know, me too, right? And I can't wait to, yeah, just hear, you know, for you as we like catch up over time, be like, so like, how is this plant like working with you now? And, you know, where has it taken you? So to be continued, letting the path unfold.
Yeah. And the dieta is a really interesting one because it can you can diet anything, really. So like some people, if you're a herbalist,
Mhm.
you might want to diet mint or basil to understand deeper that plant. So this doesn't just it doesn't need to be a go to Peru. Of course, that's a very powerful experience. But if there's a desire to want to commune with a specific tree or a specific plant, then there is a way just to spend time with it and to, take an intentional period of time where you remove all of the um, all the extra things that is consumed so that there is more sensitivity to connect with the energy of the plant. Uh, it is a really beautiful, beautiful practice.
I'm really glad you
Yeah.
mentioned that too, because yeah, I think it's great to know that, you know, anybody can do this, and you don't have to travel to Peru if you can't do that. And, you know, you can work with plant allies that, you know, are in our garden or right outside our door, and just say, okay, hey, like I would like to work with this plant. I want to befriend this plant and see what messages are here and what it can teach me and all of that. And so would you say that if somebody wanted to do that, they would kind of, in terms of the dieta, you know, keep the diet really simple so that as they're like maybe drinking tea of a specific plant, that they can work with it in meditation more, and like, would that
Yeah,
be
like almost a way to start would be to have a day that you plan to have no sugar, fat, salt. So just a really plain diet, boiled broccoli and rice, um, and then ingesting the plant with that intention, like through tea,
Mhm.
and and asking questions, receiving messages, meditation. Yeah, it's a really beautiful, it's like a very gentle way in. It's a very different version. This isn't what we're doing when we're going in and working with the Shipibo, but it's a way to start to commune. And I feel like because we're so, we've lost a lot of that in our society because we're on pavement inside houses. And so it's like a nice way to really go and commune back with nature.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Thank you so much. Oh, is there anything else that we
Thank you.
haven't asked you that you
Oh,
hmm?
there's one other thing there's one other thing I
Yes.
would love to share. And
Yes.
in terms of communing with the plants. So a practice that I absolutely love that you can do anywhere in the world, you just choose which plants, which herbs you have, is what's called the plant bath. And the plant bath is actually clears and cleanses your energy. And so what you do is you put a pot on the stove. In Peru, we put it on a fire, but you put a pot on the stove with a lot of water, and you put in your mint or eucalyptus or basil or rosemary. Like you put in different herbs that have different healing properties, and you can look up what those properties are. Rue is a very popular one. And you boil it, and you just put it on the stove for like an hour or something on really low, and just have it brewing. And then you go into a bath or shower, go outside into your backyard and have like, you either can let the pot just be, let it cool until it's comfortable to pour over you, or you can add cold water, whatever you wish. You literally just pour slowly the plant bath over your body, let all the herbs infuse all the way through, and it will clear everything. So if you're feeling like you're needing that kind of shift, that is a way to work with plants at home, which is really beautiful. It makes me feel like I want to go make one right now. So,
I
so
want to
we were
make
doing those daily and before and after ceremony. That's a big
Oh,
part of the process in the Dieta.
I know
Yeah.
I got to do that with you in Guatemala when we led one of our breath camps, and
Yes.
it
Oh, it's
was
so,
incredible.
yeah, it's divine. And I forget sometimes that I can do that when I'm in the city. Like it is just as easy to do it there as it is to do it in nature. So offering that and choosing which plants you want. It's really simple.
I
Yeah.
want to do that.
I am doing that. I'm so glad that you brought that in. That's such a gift.
I love that. Yeah, I've never done that, and I would love to work with the plants like that. Just like, cleanse me,
Yeah.
It sounds like, yeah, right now as I'm thinking about it, it just sounds so renewing and refreshing and enticing. I'm like, yes, it's on the list. I'm doing that like
Happening.
tonight or tomorrow for sure.
And people ask, oh, can I just put plants into my bathtub and fill my bathtub and lay in it? And yeah, you could do that, but that would be a different intention,
Mm,
like having a flower bath or something. That's a different intention. The way that it really helps clear the energy is when you're not laying in it, but you're pouring it
Bring
over
it
you.
over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Including your head, right? You want to get it over
Yes.
your head. Yeah.
Definitely.
Get
Definitely.
it. Cleanse that mind. The crown chakra, the third eye. Beautiful.
ah, sounds so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for opening this portal to share. It feels really special to share this. It's a really powerful journey and very cleaning and cleansing, and if anyone ever feels inspired, then please reach out because we go every year. We're going next year. Our dates are the end of last week of September, I believe, 2025. And we go yearly to Peru, also leading a pilgrimage, which is also a way to get introduced to Peru, but in a way that's a little bit more gentle, and like it's communing with nature, but there's more normal foods and it's less internal and it's a little bit more community oriented. So that's the pilgrimage in the Sacred Valley, and then the Dieta is in Terapoto. And yeah, I feel like that all of this work wouldn't be what it is if it wasn't with community that I'm going with.
Mm.
And it just adds so much to the container for the safety, for like the nurturing of feeling supported and seen and to laugh with, and to also go through really difficult times together, all of it, and to really just feel a part of something together, like part of this journey together. So that part has been really important for me on this journey of going to Peru, is with community. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. Just the importance of community, having that support, and like knowing there's people there for you and you're there for them, that connection. And yeah, I know I've felt that in, different communities I've been in, especially the breathwork one, especially with both of you, and just how special that is and how important it is for just life, because, right, like I can be someone who's like, I can do everything all on my own. I'm good. And then I come into community and I'm like, whoa, okay, this is so beautiful and important and necessary. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, because yeah, it's absolutely incredible to have that, especially when you're doing these like really deep journeys, right? Like you don't want to do that alone.
Right. And that there are some people that do, they go into the deep jungle of Peru and they go to their own tembo, and it is something that can be done completely solo.
Yeah.
But it depends on the person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And probably your intention for that particular journey.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll post everything in the description of how to get in touch with you and links for what's coming up, so anybody who feels inspired can follow Emily with all those links that we'll have for you.
Yeah, come to Peru. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
This is my 10th year, going to Peru, to the Sacred Valley, and third year to the jungle. So definitely feel this is one of my spiritual homes and really love sharing it with people. So please reach out. Yeah.
Yes. And thank you, Emily, for sharing so much about your experience. And, it's so fascinating. I feel like you really did kind of like paint the picture for me. And, because I'm a very visual person. So just having you kind of explain it all to me, I was like, okay, I'm there. It's as much as I can be. And, this has just been so fascinating and so inspiring. And yeah, just thank you for sharing your wisdom and being here with us, and just so willing to share openly about all of the beautiful things that you're doing. It's just, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think this is a good place to kind of wrap everything up. And we appreciate our listeners for being here with us and connecting into this episode. And hopefully you all received some wisdom and insight, or just, enjoyed the conversation. As Christy mentioned, we'll post links in our description of how to reach Emily, and if you have questions, and how to reach out to her or join in with her in Peru one of these years. So yeah, we appreciate you all, and we love you so much.
Love you.